All right.
Yep, I'm seeing it.
So how did I get here? Couple of months ago, I had a demo for you guys of a tool that can extract network topology from NetBox so that you can bring up a lab environment using either container lab or Cisco modeling labs. Now, when I was developing this, quite often I would see, well, did I export what I was intended to do, and all those sorts of questions. And this is the moment where being able to see what is exported really helps, right? But I would need to launch it in the container lab to see if it's correct, or I would need to have a Cisco modeling lab's VM running so I can import it there and see. So that wasn't really convenient. So what I was thinking, well, I have a special visualizer I built some time ago for Container Lab. And I decided, what if I can export data from NetBox directly into the format that this visualizer called Graphite can, understands. So I can skip all this Container Lab or CML steps in order to see what was exported. All right. So literally what it is, it's I call it client-side visualization, because you are like on a client side of NetBox. You don't actually add anything to the NetBox. You can work with any NetBox server, like vanilla installation or customized in any way. It can have its own visualization plugins, doesn't matter. You can just pull the topology data from it. You don't need any admin rights, right? To actually be able to visualize something. You just need a read, like you can have a read-only user access, and you can have some, I hope at a certain point, quite advanced custom filters. I already have ability to filter by site, by device roles, by device tags when you extract data. So literally, I'm not dependent on how you can see those things in NetBox. You can just create a custom query, export data, and see how it looks like. All right. So for the demo and to develop this visualization, I work with a partner. It's a giant global P4 lab network. It's a network between a bunch of universities in Europe, United States, and South America, and so forth. So they gave me access to their NetBox system, which was very nice of them. And I'm going to be using their system today to demonstrate. To run the demo, essentially, there is one command that you run to extract data, which is NRX Python script, and you give it a configuration file, which basically tells where NetBox is and what the API key is. And then in this case, I'm going to be using a tag to filter devices with the tag GP4L, and tell it that I want to see the output as a graphite. And then there is a way to start Graphite Visualizer as a Docker container. And then it has a web interface, and you will see the topology. All right. So let me do that. So let's see if it's gonna be okay. So I'm gonna do it like this. So here is the NetBox list of devices for Giant. And you can see there are some of them that are tagged with GP4L tag, not all of them, right? And so I'm going to just export only those, and they're between multiple sites. So I'm going to be exporting only those that have this tag. All right, and to do that, and x.py configuration, and then means tag GP4L, and the output should be graphite. Now, Giant's NetBox server is somewhere in France. I'm in Seattle right now. And the drawback of this implementation is that the NRX tool has to query a remote server, right? And sometimes if you have latency and a lot of devices and all that, this is a little bit less, not as fast if you would have a plugin on the NetBox server, right? So there are benefits and drawbacks in this method, definitely. So it will take probably another 10 seconds to export all the devices. And it actually depends greatly if you're using a tag or if you're using a site. For site, it's a little bit faster. Yeah, so we have this JSON file now that has a description of the topology that Graphite can visualize. So to run it, essentially, that would be the Docker command you need to run. I'm not gonna, it's already started. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up this URL. So now this is the web page. And what you do, you select the file you wanna see, open it up and submit. Here we go, we have a visualization. There are two rings here. The one that goes in North-South America, and then there is another in Europe, and then this one goes to, I believe, Tokyo, right? So one of the things that I'm considering to add to this is to be able to see that on the map with geographical data, GPS points, and so forth. So it would actually be laid out on the map. Right now, I don't have that, which is, of course, works fine if you just want to visualize topology inside the data center or a site like that. But for wide area networks, that would be really nice. Okay, let's see. What do I have here as the next slide? Yeah, so we went through demo, but then I thought there is some more stuff that we just recently came up with, and I wanted to share with you that as well. In this week, we have Nanog 88 in Seattle, and on Sunday, we had a hackathon. And as part of the hackathon, we had an idea to leverage newly added device configuration template rendering, device configuration rendering capabilities that NetBox 3.5 has. So that when I export a topology for Container Lab, not only that topology describes how devices are interconnected, but it also would export startup configurations for every device that has it. So when you bring the topology up, the devices are pre-configured. All right. So that was the idea of the hackathon, and let me just jump to the demo back. So what I have here is next page over here. I have 3 devices. One of them, Nokia Linux box, has a device configuration rendering configured. So I've opened it up here. You can see it renders a configuration for the device. And for example, in the interfaces, I do have information about which VLANs should be used on different ports. And in the configuration, I'm getting those interfaces configured properly with those VLAN tags. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use NRX in a different fashion. I'm just gonna supply the this configuration, and I'm gonna use tag H88 for the hackathon 88, and the output would be Container Lab. And so if I do so, it checks if every device in topology has a configuration, and that can be rendered through NetBox. So this one does. If I look into it, you see we've got this configuration saved in the file. And in the Container Lab topology, what happens is this device over here has a startup configuration specified as this file. Right? So I can literally start Container Lab topology now, and the device would come up with pre-configured. Right? So I can do that in the background, but meanwhile, if you guys have questions, please ask
We're getting close up to time. I don't have any immediate questions for you though. If anybody else does while you're running this, please feel free.
What happened here? Oh, because that's a different file. Let me see which file it exported. Okay, this is the file.
So
All
while
right.
you're going through this, Maggie, if you have a quick moment, so everyone, we'd like to have, we throw a quick survey out there just to get your feedback on how the presentations have gone. It take you just a quick minute or two to fill out. We definitely would appreciate everyone filling it out for us.
All right. Anyway, I'll stop here. I'm not going to bring the container lab topology, but yeah, as you can see, when it would come up, it would have the device configuration. Device will be pre-configured with the stuff that we rendered. And just a final slide, just to finish and let people know where to find everything. Essentially, if you head up to netreplica.com, you will find the links to the NRX utility, to the templates I'm using to render the visualization. By the way, one of the things that you can do is you can change the way the visualization format is, and instead of graphite, you can use something else. It's totally fine. It's just a different set of Ginger 2 templates that you need to supply, right? And then the graphite itself is also there. Yeah, thank you very much.